can we not have fun? We're sitting in a wine tasting room.
We're at the Vineyard Gate here in Millbrae with Alex and Gary, and we're going to try some wine. Tell us, first off, how long you guys have been here and how we got started.
Well, we've been here since '98, so we've been here for over 10 years. And we got started because this is our passion. We love wine. We enjoy wine with food, and we love tasting different kinds of wine. And for us, this is the most enjoyable pastime. So that's how we got started on this.
Now, I'm an amateur. Victoria is more experienced. Let's start with the amateur view of wine tasting. This is my first time actually, so there may be some viewers also watching. What is it that we should be aware of and be thinking about as we come in to taste wine for the first time?
For me, one thing that I would say for the beginner, it's very easy for people to kind of corner themselves and think that they like something or they don't like something and never give it another chance. They don't realize how much variety there is in wine, in the wine regions and wine types. And this is one thing, I became a partner of the store very recently, and I was a customer here before, and the thing that attracted me was that the philosophy that Alex had for the store, which was expose people to all kinds of wine, big brands, small brands, White Zin to the biggest Grand Cru Bordeaux, and all kinds of vintages, not the greatest vintages, but even the off vintages. That's the thing, the variety. And so if you don't like something, doesn't mean you don't like everything of that great variety. Doesn't mean you hate all the French wine or you love all the French wine. So don't generalize. You really have to know more before you jump to conclusions.
That's right. And take, for example, this first wine that we just poured you. This is unusual because it's a blend of different kinds of grapes. A lot of people are used to a one grape varietal, say a Chardonnay or a Pinot Gris. But this kind of wine is a blend, so it has a lot of complexity. It's a dry white wine, but it has a lot of body. And
Strong.
It's very strong white wine. And a lot of people love wine that has really intense flavor. And so this is the kind of wine that would really pair well with a wide range of food.
Really strong cheese
from grilled salmon to even duck or pork stews. This would be a delicious pairing. And
so the color scheme, that really does have to do with the dinner entree, so to speak?
Exactly. The flavor of the wine really is the one that complements the food. If you're eating rich food, such as a grilled salmon, say on cedar plank, or a pork dish or a roast duck, those are really very flavorful, rich dishes. It calls for a wine like this that has the body and the richness that will complement it.
For me personally,
This is lovely.
food and wine pairing is almost like a religion. So, I'm crazy about, it doesn't have to be overly analytical, but for me, the pleasure of wine really comes through food and wine pairing. Oftentimes people just want to sip wine, kind of like as a pre-dinner drink. That's fine, but don't limit yourself to that. And then the wine that you will sip on its own, like a cocktail, has completely different characteristics than the one you're going to pair with food. If you're going to pair it with food, you want to have likeness between the wine and the food. So some of the flavors you're going to have in the wine, like pepperiness or acidity or spice, you may not like to sip on it on its own. You want maybe something a little bit more juicy to drink on its own. But with the food, it's a completely different story.
So I'm going to pour you the next wine that I would like you to taste. And so the first one was a white blend. So the second wine is a Gewürztraminer. This time, this is from Washington State. And you notice when you taste it, has a good amount of sweetness in it.
Cheers.
And the first thing
To
is
the Art and Wine Festival.
That's right. So the first thing about wine tasting is that you notice the color first, because the color, like in the first wine, you notice the color was very different. It's amber, and it's a beautiful amber. This one we switched to a golden yellow color, and that sort of gives you an idea of the character of the wine. And this is, being a Gewürztraminer, has the next thing you do is to smell it. And a Gewürztraminer has a very particular nose. You can, once you've smelled it, you can identify it almost any time. Wow. So this is a very floral, spicy, almost a truffle, nose that, with tropical fruit flavors that is so unmistakable. Once you've smelled this, you really don't forget it. And then you taste it. Now you take a little sip. You don't put it all in your mouth. Take a little sip just to let your mouth adjust to it. And you notice that there's a good amount of sweetness there.
Yes.
It's not a sweet wine,
That is.
but there is a good amount of sweetness. And that sweetness is what will go well with particular dishes. So with a wine like this that has some spiciness, good sweetness, you're really thinking of food that are spicy, such as Thai food.
So spicy wine with the spicy.
Some Indian food.
All right.
This is not dessert wine. A lot of people think that once they taste something sweet, it's automatically dessert wine. No, not at all. This is great with a lot of Mexican dishes. Lovely, lovely wine.
Alex and Gary, we are kind of running out of time here,
Okay.
but we'd like to thank you once again for inviting us to the Vineyard Gate, 238 Broadway here in Millbrae. Fantastic store, beautiful store, and very knowledgeable owners. So
Thank you for the opportunity, Ken, Victoria.
And this is a Malbec.
It's a Malbec from Argentina, one of the hottest wines right now.
Out on the Pampas.
A lot of people, exactly. So,
Cheers.
all right.
Cheers. Cheers to the Art and Wine Festival.
All right, thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Thank you.
Enjoyed
Thank you
wine
for
tasting
having
with
us.
you
I
guys.
think I'll drink all of this.
Yeah, me too.
Very good job, everybody.
Oh, yummy.
You guys rock.